This video will take you through the bank statement loader using the application interface wizard. So the first step in the exercise is to log on, logging on using your standard Oracle credentials. Once you've logged on, navigate to the application interface wizard tab, and within that tab we have a number of icons which we'll work our way through as we move through the video. Essentially the first step in the exercise is to ensure that we have the procedure or the mode selected to the CE bank statement loader. As we can see here, so we select the loader. From here we could create a new sheet based on that template, or alternatively, ensuring the correct loader is selected, we can press new sheet, and this will generate a new sheet with all the columns available to us for production purposes. Each of the columns refer back to or correlate back to an Oracle field. Now, as with all our wizards, you have the ability to customize or tailor the wizard to your requirements in terms of the columns. So for instance, it might be that we're not using the DFFs in this particular case, so we could go through and delete those columns. It might be that you require these two columns in a different position within the spreadsheet. So basically, using the standard Excel cut and paste functionality, we can move the order of the columns. You can hide the columns, but we don't recommend hiding the columns. If you don't require them, then just delete them from the worksheet. If you inadvertently delete a required column, then the system will alert you to the fact when you go to validate and upload the data, in which case it's a simple matter of popping the column back into the spreadsheet. So there are a number of ways of getting the data into the spreadsheet, and the most preferred is the bulk data approach, where we have set up a separate spreadsheet with the required data in the required columns, and then essentially ensuring the worksheet we're going to use for production purposes is tailored to the same format as our bulk data sheet. Now, just before we copy and paste that data in, some points to note with regard to the sheet. Row 10 is an important row. So row 10 is our default row. So any value that we have in row 10, such as the update mode, in this case the transaction date, value date, etc., will be reflected against the production lines within that particular bank statement that you're looking to either insert or update. So row 10 is particularly useful. It's the default row. Over and above that, ensure that the name of the columns aren't changed in any way, because as mentioned earlier, they correlate back to the Oracle field itself. Feel free to use the row 7 and above to place any notes or any information that you may wish the users to be aware of. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll copy this data into the sheet, and then we'll need to put the update mode in. Now, I could quite simply type insert in there, and inserting that particular statement. We do have some options, and we do have some forms available for your use. So as we can see here, when the form pops up, we'll see there are a number of options. So insert, update or delete. If there is an issue in terms of the dates, then we can effectively use the date picker and select the correct date. So the forms are particularly useful for correcting data. Equally, you can use the forms for inserting the data into the worksheet. And so we have lists of values against some fields. We also have searchable fields, of which you can use the wildcard percentage sign. So we've got our data in our sheet. We're going to insert it. You can see when we've started work with the data, it does a level of validation for us. So that's telling us the data is correct at this point in time. So we can see over here we're going to be using the default rows, and we can then move to the next step, which essentially is one of two. One, we can validate the data again, and that will validate all the lines within the record, or we can go directly to the upload selected, upload all on the sheet. We can also invoke a background upload process. If you've got lots of data on the sheet, you might want to use the background upload process, and that will allow you to carry on working. So we'll go ahead and upload the selected, and as you'll see here, it'll do the validation process in the first instance. So if you don't want to separate the validation process from the upload process, then by all means just go straight to the upload process. So as you can see there, very quickly that particular record or records have been processed, and you can see they're now up into the interface table ready for the next step, and again our default rows have populated the correct cells. So that's as easy as that in terms of if you've got some data in a separate spreadsheet, then by all means use the bulk data approach. Equally, you can use the forms to either correct the data or get the data into the sheet itself. And as we can see in Oracle, we select that particular account number that we've just created or inserted, and as we can see the lines are associated with that particular one. So coming back to the spreadsheet, the other valuable attribute of the wizards is the download functionality. So essentially we can, in this particular case, we've got two options. We can use the form, or we can use the download using sheet option. So we'll just use the download using form option. Effectively we can go through and select the appropriate criteria which we wish to base our download on, and then press download, and that will bring that particular statement back down into all three, in fact, because we didn't select a statement number, but it will bring all three statements for that particular bank account number, and here's the one we've just inserted, back down into the sheet. So from here, if there was an update needed, then essentially we just have the mode update, and then we can go through and we can change the amount, for argument's sake, of any of the lines that we need to update, and then it's as simple as again doing that upload process, and we'll upload selected, and that will then go through, do that validation process and update that particular bank account number. And then if we go ahead and we just copy that data and pop it into the cells down here. So what we're going to do this time is use the download via sheet option. So we're asking for that particular account number and that particular statement number. So we'll download using sheet data, and then that will bring that version of the bank account number back into the sheet. And as we'll see over here, we've changed those values to 1500. So that's the update process. So the insert and update process, very, very quick, very, very easy. So that concludes the video on the bank statement loader using the application interface wizard.